Speaking of beautiful women, gold sequin gowns, have you all been noticing these pictures on the slideshow? There's some pretty impressive people there with Fred. John Travolta, Anne Margaret, the Osmonds, Diana Ross, R2-D2, C-3PO. That all ties into Show-A-Rama.
Oh, they all came here to get our autograph and be on Bowling for Dollars.
Tell us a little bit about how you got involved with Show-A-Rama.
Okay, Show-A-Rama, I was doing Bowling for Dollars, and that says the premiere show is 73. I'm sure there's a typo somewhere in there because I think Bowling for Dollars started a little before that. But in any case, I may be mistaken. The years do kind of run together, but I thought it was a little earlier than that. But be that as may. A guy by the name of Chuck Barnes, I don't know if you've ever heard of him, he ran the United Motion Picture Association. Kansas City used to be kind of a hub for the motion picture industry, down around 18th and Grand and Baltimore in that area. United Motion Picture Association, there were several film companies down there. We had a program come to Kansas City. It's a big convention every year. I don't know when it started, maybe in the 1970, 71, circa 72, something like that. But the show was a program that was produced by the motion picture industry, and it was designed to be a gathering of movie people who produced movies and who exhibited movies, movie theater owners and operators. So it'd be an annual convention that they brought everybody here. And one of the main guys in it, of course, was Stan Durwood, because I think he kind of got the thing started, because this is his hometown and everything, so get it started, what better place than this. So that kind of became the spotlight of the movie industry, came to Kansas City once a year. Well, I didn't have anything to do with the start of it. But what they did, they had a convention all week where they had companies do trade shows, and they had new popcorn machines come out, new pop machines, and new deals to warm hot dogs and all that kind of stuff, just general things that you see in the movie theaters. This way they learn new products. So we had all these movie theater people come into Kansas City. We had thousands of them. And at the end of the week, they had a big grand ballroom at one of the big hotels like the Yobach or the what's the big one, the Hall Crown Center, or Hyatt Regency, one of those. And this thing started, went on for 3 or 4 years. And evidently they had somebody MC at one time. They weren't really too happy with the MC, so they had to find a new MC. So Chuck Barnes called me, and he asked if I'd be interested in emceeing the movie convention. He says, I just like to go to the movies. He says, it'll be fun. It's easy, Fred, it's easy. Whenever they tell you something is easy, and you got to be careful, because there's alligators and sharks everywhere. But I said, I got to come down and talk to you, because I'm not sure I want to do something like this, because you don't want to get involved with a live audience, because the main thing is an audience of like 1,200 to 1,300 people or so in this grand ballroom, and you're out there like a country bumpkin trying to sell turnips. You've got to know that this is a place that you belong. So I go down and I talk to Chuck, and he says, it's real easy. He says, honest, all you do is introduce these people, introduce this guy, introduce the dais, and then you introduce a movie, and you sit down and eat a steak, and then you introduce the producer, the director, and the star. He says, say good night, everybody. Yeah, that doesn't sound like too bad of an idea. And I says, can I get a spot in the movies? Maybe. You never know. By God, this might be a pretty good deal. Might be right down my alley. So they hired me to be the MC of that convention, and through the week I had to go to a couple of the trade shows to learn a little bit more about the business, and maybe MC little things about introducing one guy or another, but it was real small type work. And then here comes the night of the big banquet, and it's kind of scary because you're used to working on television. It's just you and a couple, 3 camera guys and a stagehand, and guy goes this, and the red light comes on, and you can talk to your mom or wife, or talk to one of your favorite people or whatever. And television is just that easy. It's pretty easy. But a live audience, it's not always that easy, because first of all, you don't know if they like you. On TV, you don't know if they like you because they tune in to see you. But when you're a live audience, you don't know. So you're backstage, you look out the curtain and think, and these people all dressed up in fancy stuff, you know. I got to rent a tuxedo. I don't even own one. got movie stars over on this side of you, and the stage goes from here to there, and you got to introduce 20 people. First time is really kind of scary. And so you get up and you figure, well, what the heck? I did a weather show and I didn't know anything about doing weather, so let's try this thing. So I walk up there very slowly, try to keep from falling down, and I get to the podium, and something's got to break the ice. You do it for the first time on television or radio or whatever, and you do it first time no matter what kind of occupation you have. You know you've got to break the ice, whether you're a typist, whether you're a general manager, CFO, whatever, president of the bank, something has to break the ice. So I look down in front of me, and here's this great big table with about 20 people around it, and there's Stan Durwood right there. He's looking at me. He gives me this great big approving type smile, and his family's there with him. And right there, it hit me that I got local people here. And this guy probably is the guy that mentioned for me to get the job. So I started off, I said, I'm Fred Broski, I do the local weather on TV. And everybody started laughing and gave me a round of applause. I said, man, this is easy. So that kicked it off and everything worked pretty good. And then during the show, after dinner, we would show trailers of the new movies, and we would introduce these stars that you've seen behind us, and that was really a different deal. You know, when you have somebody like Ann Margaret come by, or Farrah Fawcett, or Paul Newman was there, or John Travolta, these guys, they come and they sit right here next to you, and it's interesting. You don't become close friends, but sometimes you get a little small talk, other times, depending on what they're like, but most all of them are all very, very friendly people. And you talk about these gals in the movie business, this real stars, are they really as pretty as they look on the movies or on TV? They are. I'm telling you, when Farrah Fawcett came out there, she had this slinky outfit on, Golda May, I think they called it, and it was way down here, and her skin was, it was just luxurious. It looked like it was made in some factory, and she was absolutely gorgeous. And she sits right down here next to me, and it's hard to keep your eyes off of, you know. I'm fiddling around with my steak and looking at it. And she's so svelte and slender and just perfect, you know.
And married.
Well, you know, I'm married too, but still. And I look at her. I look at my plate. I've got potatoes and gravy and stuff here with butter on it. And I got the steak and a little piece of lobster. I look at her plate. She's got a couple of lettuce leaves and macadamia nuts. She weighs 108 and I weigh 215. I wonder why.
Well, I think it's so cool that I'm sitting this close to somebody who similarly sat this close to the most beautiful women in Hollywood. I get a thrill out of it. It's awesome. So, Show-A-Rama. And I want to mention before, because I don't want to forget, this book Fred wrote about a half dozen years ago, and I helped him get it published. This, if you've enjoyed his stories today, you need to get this book, because there's a lot more in here, and all the photos you see on the TV are in this book as well. And the proceeds actually go to the Overland Park Historical Society, act of generosity and kindness from Fred. I also, because I don't want to lose track of time, somebody, I don't remember who, donated this patch to the society a few years ago. Bowling for Dollars winner. Wow. So that's a collector's item right there. Does that look familiar to you, Fred?
No, I don't remember that. I don't remember that.
And we were also given this. I'm going to put the mic down.
I remember this. We used to have a bowling tournament, and I had these bowling towels made up. They're really neat, aren't they?
So tell them about this. They're seeing this sunshine. Tell them how that came about.
Well, you might have noticed I'm a little different than most people.
That's why we love it.
When I started doing the weather shows, I thought they all looked the same. Everybody used the same numbers. They all used the same map. You can't change the states, they're where they are. But they just used an L for a ho, an H for a I, and hot and cold, and just straight, simple letters. And I didn't like it. I wanted to be different. I wanted to show sunshine with a smile on it, not just the two eyes and the nose and the smile. I want something different, so I put a sunburst on it. I drew it out and made that. Say, yeah, this is what we need. What's this? And we don't want just a little piece of paper cut out for a cloud, I'll draw one out, cut it out, put it on board and do that. And so I made my own cartoon character type things and used those on the weatherboard, and it seemed to really work because our numbers went up, our ratings went up very good. That's the only reason you stay on the air is because the numbers come up. And so that worked out pretty good, and I thought, well, that sunshine sticker, I created that thing, and I really like it. It's kind of like my baby, you know, it's kind of like a child. You create the child, and they're not always the prettiest, but they're yours, and you like them. So I said, I'll go out to Gill Studios and get some decals made of that. So I go out there, and I ordered a whole bunch of decals. Actually, I told my general manager down there, I said, I want to order some decals, and I'll give them to people, and they put them on their cars, and we'll spread sunshine all around the area. That's a pretty good deal. I says, you guys want to pay them? No, we're not buying them. They cost, at that time, about 6 cents a piece. I says, you wouldn't pay that? If I do it, wouldn't you pay for it? No, I wouldn't pay for it. Put a 9 on there, I might pay. Well, no, because I got a sunshine. I don't want to make it look commercial. I want it to just be a happy sunshine. No. Hell with you, I'll go pay for it myself. So I go out, I produce about 3,000 or 4,000 of them, and I said, can I advertise them on TV? He said, sure, you do whatever you want. That's where he makes his mistake. Because that kind of gets your popularity up. It's not really a mistake because we bantered back and forth. We really got along, not all that bad. We had problems here and there, you know, kind of like family. But we never allowed weapons in the studio. So I started on my weather shows for several weeks. Every third or fourth weather show, I'd say, I have the sunshine sticker, put on the rear window of your car. No matter where you travel, you always have a little sunshine around you. Hey, that's pretty cute. How do you get it? Well, just send me a self-addressed stamped envelope and we'll send you 2 of them. So now all of a sudden these envelopes started coming in from all over. I mean, Topeka, St. Joe, we get them from Sedalia, Belton, Harrisonville. Next thing you know, we're sending out these thousands and thousands of these sunshine stickers. And back in those days, it would be hard to drive more than 2 or 3 days without seeing at least a couple of those sunshine stickers. But then, as management changes, other things change, and then that idea goes away, and the new managers don't necessarily like it, so they won't allow the promotion of it. And once these cars get old and they're sold and junked, the sunshine sticker goes with them. And unfortunately, all the new cars come out, they don't have sunshine stickers on them. But that's how that got started. But every now and then, I'll have somebody write and say, my grandpa or my mom or dad had sunshine sticker on their car. You have any more of those? I said, yeah, I'll send you a couple of them. But I'm about out of it now. I had a bunch of them produced for the book, and they're about all gone now. So that's that.
Well, so, and a true story. Within the last 2 years, I saw a sunshine sticker on a bumper of a van in downtown Overland Park. And it was faded, so, and the van was obviously an older vehicle. And I thought, wow, it's still around. 2 weeks ago today, I was in a small town of DeSoto, Missouri, which is about 45 minutes to an hour south of St. Louis. And I saw a car with Fred's sunshine sticker. Unbelievable. And I stayed there. The car was parked. And I thought, I'm just going to sit here a while and see if somebody comes and gets in the car, and I'm going to ask them about it. But and I waited about 30 minutes and then I bailed. But, I mean, what are the odds?
Yeah.
It's just incredible. But the sunshine sticker, now that you know about them, be on the lookout. They're still out there. They're still out there.
Brad, excuse me, but 4 or 5 years ago, we got more people asking for the sunshine stickers, and there's a place called Christie's Tenderloins. I don't know if you know about it, over at 55th and Metropolitan, Kansas City, Kansas. Great tenderloins. Well, the Christie family, they're big race fans. Darren Christie, the son, he drives race cars and he builds them, and it's a great family. I met him the first time 4 or 5 years ago when I went over and got a couple of tenderloins for me and my son, and they're in the Central Auto Racing Boosters Club, and there's a Hall of Fame. They're in there. I'm also in this Hall of Fame, and they said, because they took a picture of me and them over there, and they put it on the wall, People started asking about it, and they gave them a few sunshine stickers, and they said, people want to buy these sunshine stickers. I said, well, we'll take care of that, because I had a couple hundred of them. So I said, here, take these and sell them. So well, what are we going to do with the money? I said, well, let's give it to the Hall of Fame. So it's a nonprofit. So they started selling these things, I think, 2 for $1 or something like that. I said, just sell them a quarter piece. They asked them a quarter piece, then nobody got to be 2 for $1. They got to be worth something. Okay, you know the market better than me. So they started selling these things for the last few years, and those are some of them that you might see now, because they've sold about 2,000 of them in the last couple of years, and we made the donation to the Hall of Fame, Central Auto Racing Boosters Hall of Fame Fund, and so they're $2,000 richer because of that.
Wow.
And if everybody would buy 10 of these books, then Lower Park Historical Society would be a lot richer too.
See, it's win, win, win. Everybody wins. I want to also mention, because Fred won't, there was a poll taken in Kansas City in 1975. I don't know how many people participated in this, but it was a recognition, a name recognition poll. And I found the article in the Star about it, and I'll just read this. Consider the name recognition question. 15 names were picked somewhat arbitrarily, but from a variety of walks of life. Respondents were asked if they recognized each name. If the answer was yes, the respondent was then asked to identify the person. So they came up with the list of top 15 people that people recognized. Guess who was number 1? Mr. Broski at 96%. Who came after him? Lynn Dawson at 95%, so it was close. After Lynn came Ilis Davis, the former mayor, at 87%. Then we dropped down number 4, Miller Nichols, to 63%. And then number 5 was Don Hall at 48%. So wow, Fred, 96%. Not only recognized the name, but knew who he was. So that gives you an idea of how well known and popular Fred certainly was in the 70s. And also, you know, when you're into history, you find yourself going down rabbit holes all the time. I didn't really have the time to do it, but I did it anyway. We've been talking about these stickers. In 1988, someone wrote into the Star to the "At Your Service" column, "Can you tell us where to get a Fred Broski Sun sticker?" This is 1988. We've got one about 6 years ago at the music hall in a special contest. We put it on the car and it never faded or came off. We would like to have one for our other car. We've tried other stickers, but they have come off. Thanks. MF in Kansas City. So the man and woman who ran the "At Your Service," this was their reply. "We have never understood why some people want to clutter up their cars by putting stickers on them, but that's a matter of personal taste. It seemed to us the best place to get Fred Broski Sun stickers would be from Fred Broski. So we sent him a query at Channel 5, where he does the weather. Broski sent us a letter telling us he was sending you 2 stickers. And then this is a quote from Fred. "Also, here's one for you," Broski told us. "Put it on your rear window. It's good luck." To which they replied, "Thanks a lot, Fred, but we already mentioned our feelings about stickers on cars. We will just have to take our chance on our luck."
You know, Hill Studios, we know they're located over in Lenexa, about Plum and 90th, 88th, and Plum, somewhere in that area. Probably more like 100th, but in any case, they have several city blocks up there. My son's a printer. He's been a printer for all his life. He started in the print business when he was about 21 years old, and he's 59. God, how they get so old so quick. But he worked at a printing company out in Martin City up until about 10 years ago or so. Gill Studio, and Brian, my son, he always wanted to work at Gill Studios because he loved the quality of the work, but they never had a place for him when he was first starting out. And then he never applied to them after he went out and did his career in the business. So he's working in this company, Martin City, and Gill Studios buys that company 10 years ago. Bingo! Brian is now working for Guild Studios and has been for the last 10 years. He works the night shift over there and he runs a couple of print presses. They're about from here to there. And sometimes, one time when he was at the other place, I looked at this machine. I heard, my son's in charge of this thing, and papers going every which way, and lights coming on to dry the ink. And I said, how much is this machine worth? He says, oh, about $2 million. What happens if you put oil in the wrong place? So I'm really proud of him that he really made something of himself. And he's in a company that does some great printing.
Well, let's give equal time to your daughter.
Oh, Julie, she used to do weather. I don't know if you remember, but she did weather for a while on Channel 5, and also I think she worked on 41 for a short stint. She worked in television in Hartford, Connecticut. She also worked in a couple of other small markets. And she's a little like me. She worked a place for a while, gets tired of doing the weather all the time, moved somewhere else, and she had a chance. She did some work with CNN, and she had a pretty good sized offer from a company down in the Southeast. But she was living in, at this time, not Indianapolis, but Louisville, in the Louisville area. So she decided she wants to come home. She misses Overland Park. She wants back. This is where she belongs. She didn't care about the big buildings somewhere else. She didn't want the big metro areas. She's got to be home. Because mom and dad are there, brother's here, grandma and grandpa's here. She just wanted to come back home. So she comes back home. She did a short stint for the TV stations, and then she got on KU Med Center, and she started working there first in the library, and through this time, she got her master's degree when her children were in baby carriages. She had twins and another child, and when the kids were in teenagers, she got her PhD. She did all this on the side. And now she works at KU Med Center, and she does a lot of writing for the in the surgery department there. She works with like 48 surgeons. When they do certain operations, they have to take their knowledge and put it on paper, and they're good with scalpels, but sometimes they aren't good with words. And that's where Julie kind of comes in and does that. She's pretty smart. And she has her first girl is Iris. She is 23 now, and she's a special needs girl, and so she's thankfully living in Johnson County, and with programs that really take extra good care of special needs kids. She's a joy to be around, and as a matter of fact, tomorrow's her birthday. She was born on St. Patrick's Day. Yeah, the twins, they were born 2/22/02, February 22nd, 2002. They're really smart. They've just finished, they're finishing this year, their 4th year at Truman State University. They come out debt-free. They got scholarships. They will have their degrees coming out of Truman State. One is in community psychology, and the other one is in astrophysics. And they both have already signed for programs for their PhD, all expenses paid for the next 5 years. You can't do that by pushing numbers on a weatherboard. They're just so special, and you as grandparents know what I mean. We're so proud of our kids and grandkids when they do this. But even if they didn't do it, I'm telling you, if they drove a truck for Walmart, it'd be just the same. You get proud of them, but I'm so proud to see them do things. One girl, Melody, they both play in the orchestra. They play the bass. Melody, she started volunteering several years ago for the suicide hotline. She's got this deep compassion in her. She's just got a lot of heart. She wants to help people. What better kind of person that this world needs to help people who have had alcohol problems or drug problems. So here she is. She's a counselor. She's a counselor. 22 years old. She gets on the phone. She talks to people about their problem because she's been trained for this for all these years. And I said to her, you can diagnose all these people that you talk to on the phone, but don't diagnose family members. That's awful. We don't need to know what's wrong with us. And if we do call in, don't tell our family about it. But that's really great to have somebody like that in the family, and we know that she's going to be going on. Who knows, maybe some governmental work, working with kids with problems. I don't know, but it's great to see them go on for the PhD. And the other one, we talk about exoplanets and novas and supernovas and where the end of the world is and the end of space. And it's really fun to talk to her about astronomy. So that's where we stand, and they're both on spring break now. They go back tomorrow. They go back to school tomorrow. So we know what grandkids are like.
Very proud grandfather, and deservedly so. I'm going to say just a couple more quick things, and then we'll open it up to some questions. We've got about 15 minutes left. Fred still makes the newspaper, whether he realizes it or not. In fact, he's made it so far this year, 2023, he's been mentioned twice. There was an obituary in March, a woman named Roberta Dean January for her last name. In her obituary it says, in her younger days, Roberta was a great bowler and once bowled a score of 300, which placed her on the Bowling for Dollars show with Fred Broski. In her obituary. And then, so now, this goes back last year.
Morbid in a way.
A little. Now, June of last year, 2023, this is just a short little letter to the editor. The headline is, Aging is a Lot. It's by Paul Comerford, who lives in Blue Springs. He wrote, we folks motoring along in our 7th or 8th decades of existence shouldn't be too worried about artificial intelligence, social media, or stuff like that. Why? We've never really mastered the TV remote, smartphones, or newfangled TVs that support those streaming services. Life was easier when the only choices for TV channels or anything resembling social media or AI were channels 4, 5, and 9, and entertainment was Fred Broski and his Bowling for Dollars show. Good luck, future generations. You'll need it.
Send him a cherry ice candy bar.